Hey, what's up everybody? It's TheHyphenate here, and today we're going to talk about what I think is the best custom layout for the Sony a7C when it comes to video. If you want to know about the best layout that I think for photo, I do have another video on this channel, link in the description. Alright, so we're going to go over every button on the camera, and I'm going to explain what I programmed those buttons to control. Alright, so now we're in video mode, and we're going to start from the top of the camera. Now the Sony a7C is very limited on custom buttons, and that's actually kind of a little bit of a problem for me. Normally I like to have a button on the top that goes to focus area. However, here you see there's only one custom button, which is the record button, though it doesn't even look like it's custom, but yes, you can reprogram it. So I actually changed the record button to actually be focus area, as you can see here. Focus area is something I use all the time, especially when I know a subject is going to be in a specific part of the frame. This allows me to make sure that I put the focus area to exactly the subject. Now, by doing that, I needed to reprogram the shutter button to actually work for recording. So now, as you see that it's recording, it's by me pressing the shutter button, not the record button. Now, let me show you in the menu how to actually do that. So we're going to go to the menu. If we go to tab 2, page 4, you'll see movie with shutter. Click on that and make sure that you have it on. If you have that off, the shutter button will not record video, and if you reprogram the record button like I did for focus area, you're not gonna be able to get into any recording whatsoever. So this needs to be on. Now on the top back of the camera, the first dial that we see, we have actually set to program the shutter. Now by default, it's actually set to program the aperture, but I wanted to switch it to shutter because a lot of the other full frame camera bodies from Sony have that dial set to shutter. And if I'm going from my Sony a7S III to my Sony a7C, I want that muscle memory to feel natural from both cameras. Now to make this dial control the shutter, we go to the menu. On tab 2, we're gonna go to page 9, go all the way down to dial/wheel setup, click on that, and now you'll see two different options. The first one, TV, then AV second, is actually the default mode where the dial on top is set for aperture, and then the one that I have selected here, AV first and TV second, this is where it flips the dials, and now the dial at the top is set for shutter speed, which is what I prefer. Now underneath that, the AF on button, I actually programmed to go to the focus magnification. And this allows me to punch in to make sure that my focus is on point. Then using the directional buttons where the control wheel was at, I'm able to move this around to make sure that I can see any part of the frame that I like. If I click it one more time, it gets out of the focus magnification, and now I see the full screen. Again, that's very handy for being able to look into a closer part of the frame. Next, we have the function button. We're gonna skip that for now. We'll get back to it in a bit. Let's go first to the control wheel and the directional pads with that wheel. If you click on up, that's going to change the display. That cannot be reprogrammed to anything else. It stays for display. If I click left on the directional pad of the control wheel, I actually have that set to white balance. That's something that I use very often. Right, I left at default to control the ISO. Then if I click on down, I actually reprogram that to turn off the monitor or the LCD screen and switch over to the EVF mode. Now I do have another video on this channel that explains how to do that and why I did it. And I do have a link for that in the description. But long story short, the EVF sensor, the sensor that activates the EVF to turn on, which automatically shuts off the LCD screen, is kind of annoying. And if you get too close to it, it will turn off the LCD screen even when you don't want it to and make you have to look through the EVF. I don't like that, so I found a workaround. And again, I do have a video for that process in the description of this video. Then the play button is at default, and the C button or the trash can button is actually set for the monitor brightness. So if I click on that, I can go into sunny weather mode, which makes the LCD screen easier to see in very bright environments. Now we're gonna go into the function button for video. Going from the left to right, top to bottom, the first function is audio record level. Second is focus mode. Third is touch operation. Now I normally have that off, but if I know I want to do touch tracking, where I actually touch a subject and it tracks that person, then I turn it on. I do have another video on this channel that shows you how to set up touch tracking. Then next I have peaking display. Then I have peaking color. And then to the right of that, I have APS-C/Super 35 mode. Now this is something that I use pretty often. And this allows me to go into a crop mode, which gives me a 1.5 times crop. And with this camera, it really doesn't degrade quality. You're actually still able to get full quality in HD and in 4K, even when in this mode. Now I do have another video on this channel that breaks down Super 35 mode on Sony full frame cameras, why I use it, and in what type of shooting scenarios you might want to use it. Link to that video is in the description. Next, I have white balance once again. Then I have gamma display assist. Now, if you're shooting an S-Log, this actually allows you to put kind of a LUT that makes it not look so flat from your screen, but doesn't actually affect the recording. Then I have the autofocus transition speed, as well as the autofocus subject shift sensitivity. These two are extremely useful, and I'm constantly changing these depending on what I'm shooting. Then I have peaking level, which ties into the other peaking functions that are nearby on this menu. And then I have SteadyShot. Now, I normally shoot with SteadyShot on, but if I'm using a motorized slider, I often turn it off because it can actually be problematic when you're doing motorized movements. And there you guys have it. That's what I think is the best custom layout for video on the Sony a7C. Now, if you want to know what the best functions that I think are for photography, I do have a link for that video in the description. If you're interested in getting the Sony a7C, I do have a link in the description where you can purchase them from either B&H Photo or Amazon. It doesn't change the price that you get it at, but it does help this channel. Please make sure to drop a like on this video, drop a comment below if you have any questions, and please make sure to subscribe. I have a lot more videos coming soon. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.